Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. How's everybody doing? Hey, Scalp King, what's going on? Sell off in gold. Sounds exciting. Hey, Kevin, how you doing? Rasto, Troy, how you doing? Timo, what's going on? Hey, Ronan. So, hey, Colin. Moran, how you doing? Forget about it. What's up? So, overnight inventory, my friends. Overnight inventory is long as the value area, or 70% of the volume, traded is above the previous day's close. Sorry, I just looked in the room and Alexander put whoever wants to follow the hole talks. And it took me a second. I'm like, oh yeah, Jackson Hole. I'm like, just what the hell's he put in there? Yes, Jackson Hole. Sorry. Anyway, as you can see, I'm easily distracted this morning or this afternoon, wherever you might be. Oh goodness. So we're looking at this market, and it's really an inside day within an inside day. We did a little look below and fail of yesterday's low. That was a nice trade. We got a couple of trades in there, a couple of scalps, one of a level, and then one when we regained the overnight low. There were some nice longs. And that's if you missed the short, which was nice. That's the nice thing about rotation. Now we have a poor high in tonight's Globex, you know. So there's some selling up here. Competitive selling at 64.06, which is our overnight high. Hang on one sec, folks. Okay, sorry about that. And so I'm looking for shorts down to the close, and breaking 63.98 and three quarter is kind of essential. If we take out the overnight high, so if you're shorting this market right now, you're going to be short against the overnight high. So that's really where your risk is. So here's about a 6 point range where if you're building a short position, if you're a larger trader, right, and you're building a short position, your out is the overnight high. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, sometimes in distribution, you know how we build long positions? Well, you can try and build short positions too, right? Building short positions is a little bit more risky in this market because we magically run out of supply. But if we were to correct inventory properly, we'll see a seller somewhere up at that top. Now let's see if they actually step in. Now the only reason they're not going to step in is if they see buyers. All right, so let me just. All right, so you're building a short position here. You're going to be working that overnight low. Now, if that overnight low gets taken out, then the reason for your trade really doesn't exist, does it? Let's go take a look at. Hey, Lonigan, how you doing? Hey, Raj. So we've got a poor high. We have a poor high, so they were selling this area. Hey, Shark, what's going on? Long time no see. When you have some time, check in when you have time. Hopefully you've been out getting into trouble, enjoying the summer. See, we have sellers stepped in right at that high at V and W, T and S. That's a poor high. So they've been just a wall of selling here for the entire session. Yeah, Troy, I'll give you a ring right after the YouTube. Okay, and now we see that there's a bit of a seller here. Right? So they've stepped down a little bit, right? These are things that you want to be aware of when you're a short seller because here's the thing, folks. You know, I talked to somebody and quite an interesting guy, and he shorts a lot of small caps and he reads filings and he does all this stuff. And I find that commendable that he does all that stuff. But all you really have to do is look for a seller. If you can't find the seller, it's very hard to be short, right? There's no reason shorting a market unless there is a seller present in that market, right? Now, in small caps, that means it's generally a group of people, right? Because they own the stock at really cheap prices, right? Because they finance the company. In futures markets, right, it's the wholesalers who have the lowest cost basis, right? And when they start selling and competing, that's when price goes down. Now, what happens? Why do they start competing? Well, generally what happens is if I've sold, if I'm a wholesaler and I've sold a whole bunch of contracts up here, right? To retail, like I've been just stuffing people with contracts, like bad hot dogs, right? Well, eventually they're going to start to puke. When they start to puke, my job is to undercut their price because my cost basis is way down here, under 63.88. I'm selling 6,400 product. I can sell it all the way down to 63.88 and still be in profit, right? Here's the thing, okay? And Troy makes an interesting statement. He says it's easier to stay a bull when the market just keeps going higher and higher. And he's right. Who the hell wants to short a market when it keeps going higher? It's intensely painful, right? It's not fun. It's like getting a root canal without any freezing. You know, it's not an enjoyable experience, right? So I agree, right? And we've done many discussions on why these U.S. markets don't sell off, because frankly they're structured not to sell off. So say you're shorting, so if you're shorting the threes and the twos against the fours and the fives, right? You're building a little short position here, right? Now, what do you do if you're short a little bit, right? You got to go find out where the buying's going to be. So say I'm short a couple at 2, right? I'm going to put a 64.01 bid in just here, right? Can I get a cover at 64.01, right? I'm short a couple at 2 and 235 average, right? So I got a 1.25. It's offered at 1.25. I'm not getting hit at 1 on the bid. Aha. So it hit 1.25 and it bounced up to 1.75. What does that tell you? Look, there's a space between where my buy order is, right, and where the bottom of those candles came, right? So that's short covering, right? Right. So just be aware of that, right? And when you are trading, right, if you lose your seller, right? If you lose that seller, if they stop selling, then you need to start managing your risk. And you don't need any fancy software to know that, right? So there was a seller at 2.5. See how they moved out of the way and they printed the 3/4, right? That tells you if your trade's working, right? And then you have to determine how much time and how much capital you're going to have to allocate to that trade. Hey, London trader, how you doing? All right. This way you can trade with some intelligence. Hey, Juan, what's going on? How are you this fine Friday? As we go into this one of the last weekends of summer. Right. So remember, today, folks, is all about keeping all the money you made today. Right. You don't want to waste all your money on some fancy trade that doesn't work. Just stick to your A plus setups. Make sure you have your wires in to make sure you get the money that you made this week, right? Hey, Phil the Canadian from outside Liverpool. How you doing? You joined up today? Yeah, give me a message me in Discord, and we've spoken before. I'd be happy to chat with you. Hey, Patty Lou, how are you? See, so we lost that seller at 2.5. Now, how do you lose a seller? Right? It's not like we, you know, lost them like that sock that you lose in your clothes dryer, right? It's so all that happened there was the sellers who were selling at 2.5. They saw, oh wow, there's some buyers. There's some buyers coming in, right? So when they see those buyers, they'll start to raise price, right? So we're not saying don't trade Friday. We're just saying trade smart, right? Looking only at the profile, starting from the Globex Open, what is your opinion on the flat top? Since you're joining us late, Dan, that's competitive selling, my friend. That is called a poor high. That's competitive selling. So it's an inside day, right, Dan? So that means that the buyers down here are selling here. Okay? The buyers and sellers are the same people, just so you know, when it comes to the wholesale business model, right? No problem. It's okay. Now, I got a sneaking suspicion that before inventory corrects, it may go tickle that poor high and force people to cover short. So that too short that I was short, I scratched it. I scratched it because obviously it wasn't working. As soon as we lost that seller here, because I was short 235 on a couple of contracts, right? And I was looking for this when I should have covered it here, right? I was bid at 1. I should have moved my bid up at 1.25 and covered it and taken the 4 ticks, right? But I was being a dick for a tick, so I ended up having to cover it at 2.5, right? Okay, Kunj, pretend that you're not the only seller, okay, man? Why don't they lift the other offer so the poor top won't occur? Because look, you've got 1,000 contracts to sell, and Dan's trading, selling them at 5.5, and you're sitting there trying to sell them at 7 and not making any sales. You have to think like a seller, my brother, not like a buyer. Don't think like a sheep. Think like a wolf. Think like the predator, not the prey. So if you see someone else selling, you get in there and compete. That's what creates the poor top. Do you understand now? Do you understand that you're not the only person trading the market with supply? There's competition. Does that make sense? So, of course, you would love to sell higher. But if someone's taking all your customers, right? There you go. See how they're all stepping in right here. Boom, 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 boom. Now, if they see buyers, they'll all simultaneously lift. But if they don't, they'll push back down. Now, pre-open is a great time to lift it and screw with that opening auction, right? Because before the open, all the big traders are trying to get product, lose product, and they're screwing around here. So it's a great time to try and get rid of some of your inventory at the highest possible prices you can, right? So we're distributing above VWAP, my friends, right? That's how the business works. You accumulate product underneath VWAP and you sell it above VWAP. And what's the difference? The difference is profit, and that is how commerce works, right? So the trade, now that I scratch that trade, I'll look for a look above and fail of 10.5 or a look above and go, right? Because I want to trade with the flow of business. I don't want to be fighting the flow of business. There's no reason. You're not going to win, right? You are not going to win unless you get very, very lucky and you time your short exquisitely. And I never have met anyone who does that. They always short too early, get stopped out, and then they keep shorting. And they keep getting stopped out, right? And then they blow up their account, and then comes the tears. So what we try and do, no. Troy, you want to get out of that stop hunting mentality, right? Okay? Yeah, right. Because it's really folklore. So these days, our money is made with discipline, sticking to the business plan, if then statements. So we can focus on the realities of business. Right. Now, I admit I love a good tale as much as anybody else, right? You know, if you can spin a good yarn, we'll sit around the campfire, right? Yeah. Yes, yeah, BlackRock's got $2 trillion and they care about your 2 trillion two micro stop, right? If then's a beautiful thing, right? So, thank you, Jerry, for reminding me at 10 o'clock, right? We have our friend Mr. Powell, and he's yapping about whatever he's yapping about. So, how do we manage that process, right? What do we do? Number one, you will reduce the amount of money you lose if you only trade your A plus setup. What's an A plus setup? An A plus setup is a repeatable business practice that is based on the mechanics of business, which means reality. So your trade setup must be founded in reality. What is the reality? Supply runs out, price goes up. That means long. You go long, you put your stop underneath where the trade stops making sense, right? You manage your risk and you sell into strength, right? If you have a larger account and you're a more experienced trader, you can hold the trades longer. If you're learning how to scalp, take profits. Pay yourself, right? 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 Always use stops. If the price action, right? Wait for your setup and only trade your setup, right? Discipline is the biggest thing, my friends. All right. See, we fixed the poor high. So do you see that, Kunj? Do you see how we took the poor high by 2 ticks and then they sold into it again? Right? We will be looking for that stop at 64.09 and then yesterday's high up here at 12 and a quarter. Let's see if we can go and tickle those levels as we open up now. Okay? Sellers always want to try and get as much as they can. But if you've got competition, you have to lower price to get rid of your inventory, right? You have to lower price to get rid of inventory. You've got no choice. Otherwise, you're stuck with a bunch of inventory that you can't sell. What's the point of that? So you've tied up all your capital, and someone else has taken all your customers. Starting to see the picture? Looking for 64.09. Market opens up. Sometimes the market takes some time. To correct inventory. Looking for that previous day high. And if we re-enter the previous day's overnight, under 6, right? I'm short 7 3/8, and I'm taking some back at 5. And I am flat. Thank you very much. That was a nice little trade, right? So as soon as it came back under the overnight high, I sold it and I put my stop above the overnight high. It makes sense to sell higher, but you need the customers, man. Right? You could, if you put something for sale for $50 and people are only willing to pay 30, do you want to think about that for a while? Right? Inventory below makes it sense to sell it higher, but when you run out of customers, you have to put it on sale, right? Like you've obviously bought something at a store when it's on sale. It's because they have too much of it, or someone else is offering it cheaper. Do you understand now what I mean? Nice rotation back up. I think every retail trader should go and sell things in a market, and that'll make them understand how commerce works, right? Now we hit 10.5 to the tick. Let's see. Be careful now if we get accepted over 10.5, okay? Because they're going to try to tickle that overnight, that high from yesterday. Okay? So just remember, pretend you're a little kid and you're selling Kool-Aid or something, right? You pay a certain amount for the ingredients and then you go and sell it for more, right? Remember, trading is about commerce. Okay? And commerce involves buying inventory and selling it at a markup. Right? That's how stores make money, right? Think about it like that. Don't overcomplicate this stuff. Right? It's simple. Right? They have taken trading and they have overcomplicated it so much that people are so completely turned around. Don't fall into that trap. Now, if we take out yesterday's high, two scenarios. What is a look above it fail? What is a look above it go? Breath isn't bad. Hey, thanks, Jeff. Remember, inventory is long, and we have not had a significant correction yet. So, what is the agenda now? Pretend that you had 5,000 contracts, right? And those contracts are priced under 63.92 maybe, or 96. You're trying to sell those for as much as you can for as long as you can, right? But what if somebody starts competing with you? Then you're going to have to lower price. But if people start coming into the store, then you could raise price. Right? Very simple. Put the patterns and technical analysis down for just a minute. And I urge you, and this is what we teach you at the tradingsyndicate.org, is we teach you how the market works. None of this is random. If you think any of this is random, you know, I have pet alligators to sell you. They're very friendly, very cuddly. Okay? Don't fall for it. If you're shorting underneath the overnight high, right? If you're selling the sixes and sevens, don't waste more than 8 on a stop, right? I see a seller at 7. I'm short 2 at 7. My stop is 8.25. And let's see. And I'm stopped out. I think the stop was a little too tight. Let's try that again. Let's see. If it stays under 8, I'll take another shot at it. If it creeps above 8, there goes that idea, right? See? It's too much responsive buying. Right? I want to wait till the sellers really show themselves. And I want to see that aggression. Otherwise, there's no reason in me shorting. So the first time I shorted, I got stopped out. The second time, I see that the short's maybe a little too early, right? Well, why do you want to know another way other than watching the offer? Does the offer offend you? Does it upset you? What is it about the offer you don't like? She wants to know. What is it about the offer that is irritating to you? Yeah, the good thing is the market doesn't care about your feelings, right? So do you want to learn or do you want to make assumptions? Because your feelings are not based on any sort of experience. You know what I mean? Think about it. Yeah, but are you trying to learn how to day trade or are you trying to learn how to invest? Right? You can sit and argue with me all you want or you can learn how to trade. These are good questions you're asking. But your insight is misguided. Why don't you DM me? You're in my room, right? Why don't you DM me and we'll have a chat? Maybe I can help you see things in a more positive light, right? So what I do is I try and teach people how to make short-term money, right? To make a living every day, right? The principles of this are pretty much the same even for swing trading, except you're watching levels and you're watching the market offer over those levels. But the problem is you have to spend the time. You have to spend the time and watch. If you do, you will be rewarded. But that's what sets successful traders apart from ones that aren't. You have to put in that time, and that is, it's sometimes it's not fun because it's not apparent, it's not obvious, right? So if you're long, like I'm long, where am I long? 1371 on 6 contracts, right? Because I went long when we cleared the previous day high, and I'm selling those into this 18 volume, and I'm out flat. So that little shorting stop out here, right? Remember when I shorted this and I got stopped out? That told me to wait for a nice long. When it cleared that area of the sellers, I paid 13.71 for 7 contracts and sold them up here, right? So your stop outs you use to tell you about the order flow. You see the offer lifting? You want to be long when the offer is lifting, right? You want to be long when prices are going up, when sellers see buyers, right? The offer is telling you that buyers are coming into the market. It is the most simple thing to look for. But it doesn't mean it's easy. Once you understand that the offer sets the price according to the amount of customers, order flow, coming in, you will see that just watching it, right? Human emotion will always screw with you. Even after 30 years, sometimes your head will mess with you, Derek. Right? So that's why we have a process. Right? If you have a process, right? You're just having a problem because you just need to take time, brother. Just relax into it. You're being too uptight about it. I can feel your tension coming through the IM. Just relax. Right? You're putting pressure on yourself. You're like, I'm sitting in front of this screen. I haven't made any money. What is this guy talking about? This is not working, right? You got to chill, man. You got to chill. You know? You got to chill. Enjoy watching it. Once you enjoy the process of watching, you will actually you'll start to pick up the subtleties of the market and the little details. And I tell you, the devil's in the details in this business, especially when you don't have unlimited capital, right? The dude abides. Exactly, right, Nano? The dude abides. Maybe put on some credence, right? You know, listen to some music, relax. Don't so much pressure on yourself. It takes time. Rome was not built in a day, right? That's the other thing with retail. Retail traders, you guys, you're doing you're doing good work because here's the thing. You don't have a head trader, you don't have a compliance officer, you don't have somebody sitting next to you telling you when to take trades, when not to, explaining how things work. You're stuck in a room by yourself, sitting in front of a laptop or some screens, right? So just be easy on yourself, right? Don't put so much pressure on yourself, and you'll start to learn. Of course, you know, everybody who gets into trading is a type A personality. You know, they want to make their own money, and I get that, but just chill out. Let's see if the point of control where it ends up. It was down here at 6408, and now I think we're gonna skedaddle and make it somewhere up here. Let's see if it moves up. Right? Try and enjoy the process. Right? I know it's frustrating as hell. Retail trading will make you it'll make you rethink all your life choices. Like I swear to God, the first couple of years every day I was like, Jesus Christ, why am I doing this? I should have listened to my mother. I should have gone to medical school. If only I hadn't like stayed out till 3 o'clock in the morning and failed my first biochem exam, right? You go. It just makes you question every bad decision you ever made in your life, right? It's like I'm not successful. My mother was right. I'm an idiot, right? It just, you know, just be easy on yourself, right? Right? Everybody does that, right? You're like, damn it, I should have, you know, if I didn't go out with that girl And she wasn't, and I didn't stay out till 4 o'clock in the morning with her for 3 months. I would have done better in biochemistry. I would have gotten into medical school, and I wouldn't be, all, it, just be easy on yourself, man. Right. Did we hit 28 and a half? No, we didn't. We stopped short. A couple of ticks. Right. Because you're sitting in front of these screens and your mind is going crazy. Now, I didn't call out that short. I'm sorry. I missed that short. Dang it. That's very good, Taco. Very good. It does take time to overcome. I'll tell you a secret, folks. Retail trading is the hardest job in finance because you have no support. That's what we try and do at the trading syndicate. We try and give you that support system, right? Oh, I don't know, Moran. I don't know. I don't know. I've been talking so much. I haven't been watching as much as I should. Let me kind of zone in here. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you know what? If we creep over the middle, back over 24, I'm really quite shocked that we ran out of supply after a couple of days. What I'm curious about is 31. See, if we can crack the 31s, that's a swing high, and that'll take us back into that upper range. Now, what time does Snookum start talking? 10 minutes, right? There we go, 10 o'clock. Right? Okay. See, now, that first half hour is always kind of busy, right? The open, stuff like that. And in the old days, right, the next period's going to start in 10 minutes. Powell starts speaking. And usually 5, 10 minutes after that, the lady would come around with the coffee cart. So we'd instinctively all kind of chill out and have a coffee, in one of those fancy croissant things, right? He's not going to announce lower rates, right? It's not a Fed meeting. He'll hint. And then all the talking heads will try and figure out whether he's, is it hawkish or dovish? I love how they have all these animal references. Hawks, doves, bulls, bears. Why no rhinoceros? That's good. I like that, Troy. We're going to remain data dependent and stay focused on our mandate. That is beautiful. That is some class A gibberish double talk, isn't it? Beautiful. You should run for office. Right? I like that. I'll get you writing my next news releases when we're running a deal. Good work. Hey Al, how you doing? So we've got some distribution going here, folks. I don't see a trade just yet. We're going back and forth between 21 and 28, and we're distributing the inventory from underneath 10. We're selling it up here. Oh, there's the point of control. Now let's see. See if we try a little short. You know, I'm late on my short. Should have been short 23. Yeah. There's a seller at 24, 24 half. That's good. And if you are shorting 24 half, right, you want to use these levels as your stops. Right? No reason to spend a lot of money, right? And I'm scalp short. I'll put a 21 and a half bid in and see if I can get a fill. If I can't, then I'll just scratch that thing, right? So if you lose your seller here and here, right? Remember, if you're short, you need those sellers, right? Next candle is going to open, right? Hit those 23s, and you can't, if you know, I hit the 23s, right? And I couldn't get any coverage at 22. And look how it quickly ripped. Scratch. In a trend up, we see backfilling, but the same thing doesn't happen when the market sells off. That's a good question. Because you go up to create demand, and then you go back to fill in that demand with supply. That's how you distribute. But when the market sells off, you have multiple sellers trying to hit the same buyer. So there is no backfill. The backfill is when it stops selling and comes up and they let it breathe and then they hammer it again. It's just the reverse, right? So here the market goes up and backfills. That brings in buyers. When the market is in downtrend and it stops, it brings in buyers and then the sellers hit it. And then it brings in buyers and the sellers hit it. You just let it breathe to bring more suckers in the downtrend. Boom. So large traders will sell those rips. Reverse Uno. There you go. I use the DOM to put my orders in. I use the chart to trade off of. This gives you way more information than a DOM. Believe it or not, this simple candle chart gives you so much information if you know what to pay attention to. And it's the simplicity of watching the offer and looking to see where the sellers are. Once you lose the seller, you don't want to be short. Right? The DOM is untraded orders. So those are expressions of interest. They are not actually completed transactions. So in a market, what you want to put your faith in are the completed transactions, because that's when somebody actually cashed the check, right? The DOM is like a bunch of guys walking around with fake Rolexes trying to impress the girls. You guys see what I'm saying? Yes, Raj. For now, right? So the DOM's everybody walking around being fancy, right? right? It's actually not cleaner. It depends on what time frame you're trading. What I do, Derek, is I use the DOM to teach people how to think quickly, and more importantly, how to manage risk quickly, right? So you want to be quick, not to get into trades fast, so much as to get out of bad trades fast. So you learn how to preserve your capital, right? And then, you know, capital preservation is the lifeblood of retail trading. There's that 23 short now, it's working again, right? 23 short, cover 21, right? What you learn, what you learn using the candle chart, you can use on a higher time frame. It's the same business. No, no, no. They sell into trend. Kunj, can you, I don't know what you do for a living. Why don't you DM me, brother? I'll help you. Why don't we'll have a phone call, right? You're in my room. Why don't you take advantage of it? I'm offering you a free coaching session, right? Just DM me and we'll have a chat. And I'll get you turned in the right way. Looking for bids at 14. Right? What you want to do is stop focusing so much on what the wholesalers are doing. What you want to do is focus on the mechanics of your setup, and I'll teach you that. Past 14, we're looking for 10.5, and inventory is finally correcting after a beautiful distribution, right? Beautiful. Look for bids at the previous day high. Right? There, I just DM'd you in Discord. What's up, Hank? How you doing? Nice little reaction as the shorts came into cover at 12. Now the shorts see sellers, so they're backing away, right? They're letting those sellers come down and give them better prices, right? Nice short, Scalp King. Now, if we hold the 12s, we're going to rotate back up to around 16, 17. There's going to be a seller here, right there. Okay? So if you're long, be aware of that. So if you're long and you want to hold trades past 16, do you have the capability? And there you go. You got paid. Look at that. Whoa. Jesus, I hope nobody was short. So, what did Snookum say? Oh, good Lord. All the way back up to 64.51. There you go, Doc. Next, we're looking for 64.58, my friends. So So after a big move like this, I'll redo my balance zones once it starts going sideways. And we're back up to 64.68 almost. There's our all-time highs. We're looking for 68, then 77 and 3/4. Low 64.02 and high 64.07. Another 100-point day. So much for the algo smoke break. I guess we'll get the algo smoke break after. Lots of fun. So what I'll do now, instead of just drawing more balance zones, I'll wait till it starts going sideways. Jesus. Got sellers at 72. Jesus. Wow. Just when you thought it was good, it was safe to go back in the short water, eh? Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Now they're going to backfill. Look for the bottom of these candles. Yeah, be careful for the retrace. So now I'm looking for a balance, right? Let's see if it balances here, right? Hey, Mikey, what's going on? If you're not a fast trader, you don't have to trade this. I'm not trading it. I'm watching. I want to see if this is a look below and fail of 63 and 3/4. Don't pump up his ego any more than it is $6,000 man or $6 million bed. We don't want to create a monster. That was quite a move. So there we go. We had some Jackson Hole drama. There we go. All right. Alerts from the phone are going crazy. I'm just looking for responsive buying. You know, maybe my balance zone is a little off. See, maybe it's here. There you go. All right. That seems to be, see that low, and now we should turn and try and rotate up to that high. Let's see if we can hold 57. Seller at 61. Bids at 56. Just going back and forth. Yeah, using a mental stop is not the best idea. It's not the best idea. Right? Mental stop equals mental institution. You're going to get destroyed in this market if you use mental stops. $72 sellers. So that balance is not bad. 63.72. So if she breaks out, we'll double it. There's your new balance. Indeed, we do. No, I do not use bracket orders. All my trades are inputted manually on the DOM. Okay, so we have a swing high right here. 64.76 half. Kunj, I asked you some questions in the Discord, my friend. Looking at those upper stops. There's that swing high. Any large traders would be using that. What's up, Mikey? Yeah, I owe you a phone call too, don't I, Mike? I'm sorry about that. It's been a crazy last 2 weeks. So be very careful when you're trading this, right? Right? If you're not used to trading volatility, it's okay to let it settle down, right? It's okay. So what you're going to see now is you're going to see all of this inventory here being distributed up here, right? It's beautiful for those new traders, and you'll have some new people coming in initiating, right? Pure distribution. Distribution's a little harder to trade after like, you know, a 50-point move. It's hard to kind of get into the rhythm. Don't worry, you'll get there. Yeah, that'll be a big initial balance. It's a good thing I don't use it. Kevin? Well, Dalton himself came out and said don't do it. So I like, okay. Oh, aren't Fridays something else, eh? Wow. Snookums really delivered. Yeah, exactly. He said good morning, and the market just ran. What happens when he says thank you for listening? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Party on, Garth. You and I know that one. Oh, taking the stops. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Short sellers go directly to jail. No, you don't want to short the front end of a move, right? I won't pretend to know what the president and these guys are up to. I will let the chart tell me, and I'll just post my levels and just wait for my trades. You know, that's good, Raj. I'm glad to hear he's long. It's a nice move. We haven't seen one of these in a while. That cleaned out the pipes, didn't it? Cleaned out the pipes nicely. No, I'm not trading this. I'll wait till it slows down. Just relax. There we go. September 16th. Nice. Let's go look at that SPY. Nice little boost off the SPY. See, did the coin of bitterness catch a bid? Yep. All risk assets are up. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Everyone caught a bid. Nice. Exactly, Doc. Took out every stock. The last stop, actually, it's almost like Pierre Burton in the last spike. Where are my Canadians? The last stop is up at 64.97 and change before the all-time high. If we're done, if we've ran out of customers, we're going to sell it down. Oh, underneath 72. If it does the look below and fail of 72, you're looking for sellers up here at 75. Okay, because they were there before. There. Under 72, you're looking to break these lows here at 68. You take out those lows, you'll be looking for 63. Sellers move down here. So if you're short, you're looking for a break of 68, my friends. Let the candles show you the way. Thanks, Dustin. 19 to 1. There's a break of 68, right? You're good if you're short. Looking for 63 now. I couldn't take out 63. Oh, okay. But don't let that influence your trading, Troy. Okay? Those internals are great, but they're kind of just like, like in the old days, you had the thermostat on the side of the house, right? Right? We've got some competition amongst the sellers. So here are some levels to look for. You're looking for 63. In this area here, just under 58, right? Yeah, the good thing is we'll talk after this, Troy. You don't have to follow a tick anymore. It's very liberating. You can get rid of all that stuff. Make life less complicated. I used to follow that stuff too, until I found out that none of it's necessary. Little short covering coming in here. Let's see if they can hold it. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, when a Fed chairman starts talking, you know, do you guys ever remember those Dean Witter commercials? When Dean Witters talks and the whole restaurant goes quiet because the guy's about to give some financial advice. Anybody remember those? Anybody old enough for those? No. Yeah, so when a Fed chairman's talking, everybody just, of course, Jeff, right? Yeah, there's my old guys, right? There you go. When everybody talks, psst, right? When Dean Witter talks, right? Everyone listens, right? There you go. Colin, hey, Colin used to work for J. Bob Carter, one of the most famous promoters in Vancouver. E.F. Hutton. Was it E.F. Hutton? Or was it Dean Witter? It was one of the two. Was it E.F. Hutton? I don't know. Anyway, when Pookie talks, everybody should listen. Hands off the mouse. Nice look below and fail of 63 to 70. Right? Yeah, hang out in the booth at Sears. Nice. Yeah. Was it E.F. Hutton? Okay, thanks, guys. Over 72, we're looking for sellers at 74. So now we found out where the shorts trapped. Where are the shorts trapped? I remember Wall Street Week with Louis Rookheiser. That's my ultimate goal, to have a TV show like Louis Rookheiser. I could be just kind of old and have these guys on. The fireside chat. Wouldn't that be great? I would love to do a YouTube commercial like that. Right? Bloop right past those sellers at 74. So we know the shorts are trapped under 60. Right? They showed their hand. They came in like gangbusters. Look at the size of these green candles. Right? Thanks, Guapo. Yeah, 1980. Oh, man. You know where I want to go? I want to go to Katy, Texas, and see what's so special in Katy, Texas. It's where all the old, really big old promoters retired. You grew up there? You will not believe how much money I have wired to Katy, Texas. That's another good one, Patty. Look above and fail of 72, right? If you're shorting, you're looking for a break of 69 and look to cover the 64s. And all the young kids are, what are these old people talking about? We're talking about old television commercials that were really popular. That's okay, Truth. It's nice to have action to trade. If you're a fast trader, it's wonderful to have this kind of action to trade. Yeah, because I found another deal being run out of Katy, Texas, and I'm just doing my research on it now. I think it'll set up for a beautiful short squeeze. My buddy Jam brought it to my attention. Hey, the Louis Rookheiser's Wall Street Club. Oh, that's classic. That's classic. All right. Okay. So now we're just going back and forth in that balance in these rotations. Just trade level to level, Ron. And careful, huh? It's Friday, right? So don't dip your hand into the cookie jar too many times, right? Yes. We'll do a price action lab today at 11 Eastern. Okay? Thanks, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm still taking a survey if anybody wants me to do a session later on in the day, close to the close, but I've only had one person say that they want it, so it doesn't seem like it's going to be a popular thing. If enough people want it, then I'll think about doing it. Have a wonderful weekend. Massive short position here. Let me go and put that in. 64.70 all the way down to 64.28. We have a 50-point short position. Beautiful stuff. Have a wonderful weekend, folks. Be careful out there. Thanks so much. Come join us at the Trading Syndicate, and we will see you on Monday. Enjoy the sun, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy this last couple of weeks of August. Have a wonderful and safe weekend. Thank you so much. And where are my degenerates? I'll see you at 11 o'clock in the price action lab. Bye for now.